Psychologist, psychotherapist uh, um, um, in a place called Epalinges, which is just the north of Lausanne. I had an important thing that I had to come for, and so as you can see outside, yes, and so there's noises and things like that. But I thought that I would just try and do what I promised to do. It's Saturday, the 28th of June. This is the end of the ninth week of the 10-week challenge. This is going to be one of my last YouTube lives because next week has become very complicated and I have no idea what live I'm going to do. I might do some, I might do none. That we'll see when we get there. Today I want to talk about the fact that we are both predators and prey. I think it's an important reflection to have because it's important. It's not more complicated than that. So just a small recap of the difference of predators and prey. I know it might seem obvious to people, but I think it's good to speak about it again. In nature, the predators and prey, it's fairly obvious to see the difference. The predators have the eyes together. They can see in parallel. They have good vision. Birds, for instance, have supervision. I'll talk about that in a second. Prey have basically eyes on the side of their heads, and so they have a much wider vision. So you take, for instance, horses. I talk about horses more than any other animal because I know a little bit about horses because I had to study them for when I became a therapist that uses horses to have a certain amount of knowledge about the horses. So that's the animal that that I use as an example of a prey animal. Lives in herd, and if there's a danger, their first reaction is to run away. Horses have a 330-degree vision. Really, they can see everywhere. It's a little bit behind the head and a little bit in front of the nose, below the nose actually, that they can't see. They have parabolic ears that move round. So they can hear things. So they're very, very sensitive to their environment, what's happening. They live together in herds most of the time, and if there's, if there's any danger, their first reaction is to run away. With opposed to that, you've got lions, wolves, and of course birds of prey that are prey. That's the birds of prey that are prey. It's sort of obvious like that. And birds are very interesting in the way their eyes work. Not only do they have parallel vision, in which case their perfect vision is much less useful, but they have an extra type of inner vision which is very, very narrow, but it's hyper powerful, which is how a bird from, I don't know how many hundreds of meters up in the air, he can see the prey down on the ground. And our vision, human vision, is not anywhere near good enough to do that. But I say they have this extra, very, very focused vision, which is incredibly powerful. And that's necessary for that. Now, when we talk about human beings, we are obviously predators. We have eyes in the middle of our faces. We have parallel vision. We need to have parallel vision because we need to see the prey. We need to be able to see a distance. We need to be able to judge how far it is. We need to be able to assess how we can get to it and how we can kill it, because we are predators. We're carnivores. I'm not saying they're not vegans and vegetarians, but I'm saying we're talking about the basic human being, how we've developed over thousands and tens of thousands of years. I'm not talking about nuances that we have nowadays. However, we are also prey. And in nature, there are many animals that are dangerous to us, and we have to be able to juggle between being predator and prey. And what has happened over time is that some people, and one would imagine it's basically men that are predators, that are the hunters, and it's the women that are more social and supportive. And in that, I'm going to start walking because I need to pick up somebody. So I'm going to talk for a while and I'm going to see how I manage this. And I'm more than likely I'm not going to finish the half hour, but we'll see. Let's see what happens. Okay, so this is going to be very interesting as a live, because I'm going to be doing it when I'm live. So the history of predators and prey. Yes, the light's changing. I don't know how I'm going to do this. This is really complicated. Is that one would imagine that men are basically predators, women are basically like prey, and they're social animals. They live in groups. They support each other. If there's a danger, they run away. But over the last maybe century or so, we notice more and more women can be predators, can be strong, can be dynamic, and they're totally capable to take on that role. Still walking. And so what we have now is we have a mixture of predators and prey, both men and women, and we have some very, very gentle, very soft men, and we have some very, very dynamic women. And so now the ways of being. Now you must also notice that people that are more prey, that are more herd, more supportive, are more empathic, are more caring, are more supportive, and yet people that are more prey are more powerful, more dynamic, and often less empathic and less caring, but much more practical and much more able to protect and support. So that's the basic difference between the two. Now what happens when you've got somebody that's in a situation where naturally, I'm going to cut you very short, I'm afraid today, I really have to shorten this, but I want to at least pass with one or two concepts, so the concepts are there. So you can get somebody that is basically a predator. I have a situation that I had a wife that was quite high up in a business, and her husband lost his mother, and after about 3 months she thought, well, that's it. He's like, you should have finished grieving. And the one night she came home, and the kids were in bed, and he was sitting on the couch and he was crying. And she looked at him and said, how you doing? He said, well, not very well. She said, well, it'll get better. I have to go to bed now. I've got a meeting tomorrow. I'll see you later. And that's it, that she abandoned him. And it took a while to be able to explain to her that although she wasn't Asperger, she was quite capable to notice his state, but she didn't have the reflex to be able to support him as he needed to be supported. And eventually I managed to explain to her how it worked. And when one of her kids was having problems, eventually she knew how to deal with him in a more appropriate way. The other situation I want to talk about, I'm sorry, and I've got it very, very short because I'm supposed to pick someone up, is a woman whose husband was away. Husband was a businessman, and she was very soft and very caring, but not very protective. And the fact is that it wasn't part of her personality. It wasn't the way that she tended to do this. And we're not there. People are supposed to pick up. Okay. So we'll see where they are. I don't know what's happened actually. Maybe we'll carry on. So now I've got some time because people are supposed to pick up and not there. It's very interesting when it's live, because the real life sort of intervenes. Anyway, so her son was pushed over by another boy, and she phoned me up. She was in a panic, Well, she's left me a message, and I phoned her back in a panic, and she said, "Mr. Gedda, I don't know what to do. My son's in a bad state. He's very upset, and I tried to calm him down, but he doesn't seem to be calming down. And my husband's away, and I don't know what to do." And so I said, "Well, what do you think your son needs now?" And so she said, "Well, I give him love, I give him care. Fell over. I've seen to his wounds, but he's still crying, and he won't calm down." I say, "Well, do you realize that he feels unsafe? He feels unprotected?" And she said, "Yeah, but what am I supposed to do?" I said, "What I would suggest you do is you go and see the family of the boy that pushed him over, and show your son that he can be protected." He said, "Well, I can't do that. I'm not into confronting people. I want to, maybe I can try and understand." Where she said, "Listen, your son does not want understanding. What your son wants is to feel protected. Your husband isn't there. Now, what happens every time your husband has to go and work, and he goes away quite often, your son will not feel safe. He will not know that if something happens and his father's not there, then there's no one to protect him. How is that going to be?" She says, "Well, I don't suppose it's going to be very good." I said, "Well, of course it's not very good." And that is a major problem. The major problem is the fact is that your son needs to feel protected. He needs to feel that there's somebody there for him that can protect him. He needs a shield and a sword. He doesn't just need care and support. And when you've got both of your parents there, I said, that's fine. Because you do the soft bit, you do the caring and the mothering and the empathic bit, and your husband, he does the strong, I'll do everything bit. But the problem is, he's not here at the moment, and he's often not around. And if your son starts to feel that when his father's not there, he's not supported, he's not protected, that's going to make him feel very unsafe in life. She said, "Are you certain, Mr. Yell?" I said, "Yes, of course I'm certain. I have patients quite often who have been traumatized, not felt protected, not felt cared for in that particular hard way, and it's been a problem for them for the rest of their lives." And so I really feel it's important that you go and confront this boy's family. And she is prey, and she's the part that predator is so far away from her normal way of functioning. But I said, look, this is very important. This primordial. This is, I won't say it's life or death, but it's really, really important for the structure of your son, and for him to be a man that can protect himself, because he knows he can be protected. And we learn to protect ourselves because we are protected. Just like we learn everything else in life by modeling, by seeing on the outside, seeing how we're treated, and that way we treat ourselves that way. So she said, well, if I must, I must. So she said, I'll find someone to look after the kids. She got, I think it's a neighbor or cousin, to come and look after the kids. And then she went. And I said, well, let me know how it is. And, I'm here for you. Can't do much more than that. So she sent me a message back an hour or so later and said, it's fine, Mr. Gettle, thank you very much. I'll let you know what happened the next time that I see you. So that was that. Which way am I going? I'm really a bit lost of where I'm supposed to be going. I'm supposed to pick up someone, that's why I've been moving. And they're not here for the moment. Maybe they've gone home on the metro, on the subway. I have no idea. But we'll see. I don't know where they are. Whatever. So go vaguely towards the car, which is whatever. And so she sent me the message that's okay. And I saw her the next time, and I said, well, tell me what happened. She said, well, of course I was scared and don't like being like that. I don't like to be aggressive. I don't like to be forceful. I like to find soft solutions. But you told me that a soft solution, a compromise, wouldn't help my son. So I knew that I had to do something that was a bit more demonstrative, a bit more direct. So I went to see this. I knew where the boy lives, I went and I knocked on the door, and his mother came to the door, and he said, "Yeah, what is it?" She knew who I was. We've seen each other at school, in the playground when we leave our kids. I'll pick them up, and I said, "Your son pushed my son over." She said, "No, I don't believe so." I said, "Yes, he hurt his knee, and his clothes are damaged, and he pushed him over." So she called the husband, and that was a bit scary because the husband's a big guy, one of these big guys, the big voice, and he said, "What's happening here?" And she said, this was in French, by the way, and she said, "I'm sorry to trouble you." She was a bit nervous. She said, "But your son pushed my boy over, and he's scared." And that was somehow or other, something worked with that, because she didn't want to say that. She wanted to say that I'm not accepting this, and I'm going to sue you, or all these other sort of very aggressive things that predators usually say. But because it's not at all a normal way of functioning, she just said he's scared. And the father looked at her in this sort of weird and sort of like slightly aggressive way. She said, "I think he was going to shout at me," and I was scared. And all of a sudden he called his son, and his son came out. He said, "What's this? Did you push this boy over?" I don't say his name. And he said, "Well, no, it was an accident, and he fell down. It was no big deal." And the father looked at him and said, "Did you push him over?" It's a very aggressive voice. And he said, "Well, it was an accident." He said, "Come on." And he said, where are we going?" He says, "You're going to apologize." And so they went back to the woman's house, and they went into her house, and her son, when he saw the guy and the boy, he went white. He just went white. He thought he was going to be screamed at, told off, beaten up. He had no idea what was going to happen. And then the guy turned around to his son and said, "Apologize." And the son, her son, looked up like shocked and surprise. And the boy, the bully boy, feel like he sort of like, "Oh, sorry." And the guy sort of could give him a push and said, "Apologize properly." And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I won't do it again. Let's be friends." And the father sort of nodded his head. That was what was supposed to happen. And he said, "Shake hands." So the boys, like, I don't know, 7 or 8, something like this, was very solemnly sort of shook hands. And anyway, that was it. It was finished. But what was fascinating is that this woman, she was capable to take on the role of predator, because predator is someone that defends. And if you look at the animal kingdom, you look at, for instance, horses, for instance, or any other creature, if you corner a creature, any creature, it will fight for its life, it will fight for survival. Absolutely natural. But when you actually think how violent or dangerous some of these animals can be, even a cow can be incredibly dangerous and violent. But horses, they've got these very, very powerful legs. If you get kicked by a horse, it can kill you. It's so dangerous. And horses have got these huge, powerful jaws and teeth. They can break bones by biting you. And so these animals, that if necessary, they're totally capable to move out of being prey and become violent. They're not actually predators because they're not desiring to hurt the other, but they can totally defend themselves and protect themselves and protect their herds and protect the ones close to them. So anyway, so that's it. I'm afraid I'm going to make it a little bit shorter today, because I'm supposed to be looking for this other person I'm supposed to be taking home. I don't know where they are. Maybe they've left. I'll have to phone them up. So that's all for today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. If you haven't seen all of this, then it's on YouTube. We'll put some more details on and a picture and stuff when I get around to it. Tomorrow is Sunday. I'm going to do a guided meditation tomorrow. I presume. I hope I'll have the time. I have no idea. It depends on things. It might be a bit late, but we'll see how that goes, and we'll see about that. And or I might actually do it quite early. Well, I don't know. And then next week, I have no idea what I'm going to do. It's a very complicated week for me. So if you like this, give me a thumbs up. You can join me, subscribe, like, share, and tomorrow night at some point I'll be doing a guided meditation. I have no idea what time it is. Okay, bye for now.